Well, turning back to the conflict overseas in the Middle East now, the youngest hostage taken by Hamas turns a year old today. That's if he is still alive. Shiri Bibas was kidnapped from kibbutz near Oz on October 7th, along with his parents and 4-year-old brother, Ariel. It isn't clear whether any of them are still alive. The mother and children were not among those released during the temporary truce in November, even though the deal called for the women and children to be freed first. The IDF said at the time they believed the family was being held by other militia groups and not by Hamas. Hamas has claimed that the family was killed in an Israeli airstrike but didn't provide any evidence. Well, in November, Hamas released a video of Yosi Bibas, the father, appearing under duress and blaming Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for killing his wife and children. The IDF says the video was an act of psychological terror. Well, right now we are joined live by Yosi Shnaider, the cousin of Shiri Bibas, who's been held hostage along with her 2 young children and their father since October 7th. Thank you so much for joining us, Yosi. We appreciate your time. You know, some are calling today the saddest birthday in the world for 1-year-old Kfir. What is your family doing today to mark this somber occasion?
It is the saddest birthday in the world because we're celebrating for a kid is that it's not with us. We're doing our best, you know. We brought people from all over Israel and dozens of balloons and a lot of cakes and blessing, and the whole world did a lot of things for him. And they mentioned that all over the planet, but Kfir is not here. So it's very, very sad to do that to make a birthday to a baby that is not with you.
How do you describe what life has been like since October 7th with several members of your family that are being held captive? And quite frankly, a lot of people don't know whether or not many of these hostages are even still alive. What has life been like for you and your family?
It's a living hell. Because, as you said, we don't know anything about our family. We don't know if they're alive, if they're injured, if they need something from us, if they are together, if she is still with the children or not. We have zero information about them. And as you know, there was a ceasefire that within the ceasefire, some of the hostages will be released. And Hamas was supposed to release all the children and women. And they choose not to release Kfir and Ariel. They are the only 2 babies that got left in Gaza right now. And I can tell you that those lists that they published every day, the names of the 10 or 12 people that have been released, I described it like this is the Schindler list of our days. It was a list that you need. I don't know if you can imagine. I don't know if you have kids. But think about it, that every day you're supposed to get a list in some time during the day that somebody will tell you if your family will be alive or will be dead. That's what the list was. And the Hamas is playing psychological game with us. And the world, unfortunately, give him the opportunity to do that by supporting him, by giving them the stage to speak. 4 days ago, the Hamas sent a movie of 3 of the people that have been kidnapped. And they say that tomorrow, to the day after, you're gonna send information about what happened to them. And then at noon, they send another video, like with a quiz. I don't know if you can understand what I'm saying, but he did a quiz. But in the quiz, he asked, what do you think that happened to them? 1, everybody is dead. 2, 1 of them is dead and 2 is alive. And 3, 2 are dead and 1 is alive. So you know, and then in the evening he published that he killed 2 of the hostages. They killed them. They murdered them, actually. Didn't kill them, they murdered them. So try to understand how corrupted the mind is, how devilic is their thinking that they're doing a quiz with our family's life. They're doing Russian roulette with our family's life. And the world, unfortunately, keep blaming Israel and judging Israel and keep asking us to be quiet and sit tight and not do anything. And the world himself doesn't really do anything. They're just making sad faces and tell us they empathize with us and making promises, but in the end, nobody's really doing anything. And all this radical Muslims organization, okay, all this radical organization have to be stopped because they're ruining the world. They're killing everybody that's not in their opinion. They're all over the world. They're in Canada, they're in the US, they're all over Europe, and they're dangerous for your life. And you still, I will tell you something else. In Israel, the 6th of October, we chose to close our eyes and ears. Even though there was a lot of signs, we choose to close our eyes and ears and not listen to what happened, what's supposed to happen to us. Because we thought we are strong. But I want you to learn from our mistake and stop closing your eyes and ears and understand that the world is next, Europe is next, the US is next. Because what happened to us in the 7th of October is just a question of time until it happened to you. Because those radical groups are everywhere.
Yosi, I'm curious. We know that many of the hostages that were released have given their testimony about what they saw when they were held captive. I'm wondering, have you or your family members spoken with any of those hostages that got released, and were they able to tell you anything about, your family members that are being held there?
They did tell us, but the only person that they saw is Yarden. Nobody saw Shiri and the kids. And what they told us about Yarden is that he's in a very bad mentally situation, psychologically situation, that he lost a lot of weight. And then a couple of days after it, we've got the movie that Hamas telling him that Shiri and the kids been killed. So we know that he was in a very bad mentally situation before this movie. Now we are very afraid for his life. We are very afraid that because he lost his hope, lost his purpose to life, he can maybe do something to himself right now because he's in a very, very bad mental situation. He lost a lot of weight. He looked very sick. But we have nothing to do, unfortunately.
Yosi, I can't imagine how difficult this has been for you and your family. I want to thank you for joining us on CP24 and telling your story, and we wish for the safe return for your family.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.